Hi everyone, this is Marina with How I Got Here, and I have one of my, well, soon to be very good friend, Levi Paris. Actually, we met through IG. I just commented on one of his posts, and he was just spreading love with people from outside of our community, which is always something that I admire. And he responded back, and we just started talking, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I love." He's actually a very young artist. He's a musician. I know you also write your music, right? And
Yeah.
right, and he's preaching about our community, the Jewish community, and he's very proud of it. So whatever it is that Jewish people go through, he's pretty much singing about it, even if it's just to keep on the head. I know you have one of those songs too. So,
Yeah.
which is a
Got
cool
my
song.
yarmulke.
Got my yarmulke,
Yeah.
right? Thank you so much for actually saying yes to the request because I know that when people look at you online, it's just a kid who's happy. You're spreading love, you're singing songs, and there's nothing better than spreading love towards people, right? And my question is, who's the person behind everything that you are today? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't a journey where you just wake up one day like, you know what, let me just, start. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Marina.
Yes, my pleasure.
Yeah, so who am I? I'm Levi Paris. I was born in Hawaii in 1999.
Wow.
And yeah, I didn't grow up religious at all. I hardly knew anything about Judaism. And I've always been a pretty positive person with a lot of energy. And when I was younger, I didn't know how to manage my energy, and I didn't know how it should be valued. And when I grew up, uh, people really didn't appreciate who I was, and neither did I until I was like about 18 when I started realizing um, that God gave me a loud voice for a reason.
Right, right, right.
Um, I guess from the perspective of how I got into making music and why I make such positive music, my parents are both into theater
Oh,
and they're
wow.
both therapists. So they always encourage me to express my emotions and to express myself in a theatrical manner as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so I remember my mom would always be she would write plays and direct them and have them, and she would always cast me even as a baby.
Oh, that's cute.
Um and yeah, I definitely learned to express myself and was not taught to suppress that. Um, and I think that's part of why I feel so comfortable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But also growing up, I got bullied a lot for that. And, a lot of kids are insecure about who they are.
Yes.
And they're looking at media, they look at all this, all these models who have like like a Barbie figure, and all these rappers who have like a bunch of money and talk about drugs and violence. And
Mm-hmm.
I never found that to really be inspiring to me. I thought it was very fake. Um,
Propaganda being spread into innocent.
Propaganda, yeah, just a bunch of negativity that's just mainstream media, and it's been that way for a while, and I never liked it. But I noticed how strong of an impact it had on my peers, and I realized at a young age that that is a strong reason why there's so much bullying.
Yes. Insecurity is one of the mainstream, but like you said, you come from a family that inspires you because they're always pushing you to be speak your mind and speak the truth and talk to people through an artistic side as opposed to suppressing you and telling you this is the only way, just do this. And that's actually one of the hardest things because not many come out of it or they struggle to come out of it.
Yeah, and I was actually very sad as a kid. But people didn't see that, because I was making a fool of myself, honestly, and because my personality is so bold, I stepped into a clown role where people saw me as the class clown, and I kind of embraced that,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really show any other sides to me. Um, and I believed it, when people called me all these names, I started believing it,
Right.
and it wasn't until high school where I learned about mindfulness for the first time.
Oh,
My dad recommended that I join a class called mindfulness, and it was actually the second mindfulness class in high school in US history.
Oh, wow.
So basically, we would go to class and we'd meditate, and we would talk about how it felt to meditate. And we would, there were some classes where we would just do mindful walking, which is just walking mindfully, uh, or eat, just eat very slowly and take like 30 bites of a raisin or something.
Oh,
Eh,
wow.
Yeah, and then just talk about those experiences. And it was super chill. And it really taught me to just slow down and have more
Awesome.
self-compassion. Yeah.
That's amazing, actually. Because right now, everything, the algorithm, the way life is, everything is strategic for you to be all over the place. I'm all over the place and I'm still like into like manifestation. I know you are as well, which I love. And I'm like really trying to backtrack and just be like, okay, let's meditate. And I'm trying to meditate with the kids too. And it's hard because it has to come from your home because there's not many in this world. Like kids in school don't have that. Where else do you get it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of the youth doesn't have access to these tools that
Yep,
really encourage ourselves to be compassionate to one
exactly.
another. And it just doesn't really exist outside of the home, not in the education systems. And that's something that I would like to change, to be a part of the change of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So first question is, what would be the one thing that you love that you have changed about yourself, and how long was the process?
Um, there was a point where I used to actually hate myself and hate the world around me because I just saw all the flaws.
Mm,
Um, and that started probably around the age of 11. I was really young. Um, and it just like the hatred and disgust for myself and humanity just got more and more over time.
wow.
And it's been a long journey. And I would say it took all the way to maybe 2017 or 2018 when I was like 17 or 18 years old until I actually felt the warm emotion of loving myself again. It took like almost 10 years.
Wow. So you had
And yeah,
a long, I guess we call it shadow work. I guess you had a long path of finding yourself, and you know it's never going to be a walk in the park. It's actually a very lonely and cold path that no one really truly fully understands because nobody lives your life, nobody understands your shoes, and like you said, a lot of people are insecure, so they're literally projecting their negativity at you or projecting their fears on you. And that's one of the reasons why I contacted you. I'm like, yo, can't you're too young to be so positive and spreading all that. Like your music is pretty cool. I like it. That's very, I see you going to like random people while they're like eating and you.
yeah, it's true. And something that I guess through this shadow work and through this dark, lonely journey of learning to love myself, I've come on the other end of it where I still have days where, I have negative thoughts, but overall
Yeah.
I've developed the tools to
Mm-hmm.
reset my emotions, reset my mentality. So that way, no matter what happens, I can always return to a positive state of being. And I want to share that with people. And I made it my mission to help people love their life through my music, um, regardless of where they're from. A lot of my lyrics talk about, returning to center, returning to love,
Right.
returning to God. And I even speak from the perspective of like, it's okay if you're not there. It's a
Mm-hmm.
journey. And that journey isn't a reason to give up. And just because you have insecurities doesn't mean that you should put them on someone else. I'm
Exactly.
very open about that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually, I mean, it happens within everybody's communities as well. It's not just from outside, it's just people in general. And I think it's important. Like, there was a time, I don't know how you feel about like the gay community or whatever, but you know how I once interviewed this girl who came out of her closet. I think she was like 16 years old. And then as we were talking, I realized that when they're coming out of their closet, they're literally embracing all their fears. But us as straight people, we're not embracing ourselves, to be honest with you. We are thinking we're so accepted by society that we can't even see our flaws because everything is normal. I'm normal to them, but I'm so broken. There's so many things that I can't even understand about myself because I'm accepted as is. So as straight people, I always recommend coming out of our closets in whatever aspect you want to look at it, right? And just embrace who you are, because sometimes it's the people around you just don't want to be with because they're so toxic. And especially now that's happening in the world. The world again is divided, and now it's literally good and evil. Like, which side are you on? You know?
Yeah. I mean, without saying my opinion on, the gay community and trans community, the world is full of vultures,
Yeah.
and humans take the form of vultures where they're circling around, looking down at all these people, just waiting to prey on insecurities.
Yep.
Um, so for someone to come out in this time, I know it's easier to come out than it was a few years ago,
Yep.
right? But even so, just knowing that what is mainstream normal is to point out people's flaws or
Exactly.
insecurities and just terrorize others verbally. It still takes a lot of courage to come out as someone who's gay or trans, even today when it's more accepted than ever.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I definitely think that everyone has something to come out with and embrace more of. And that's something where if you don't have like someone to influence you to say, hey, that's okay, they
Exactly.
might never do it. They
Exactly.
might never show who they really are.
Right. And we can't really judge who you are, because the only thing I'm honestly against is people who do not have a belief towards humanity. Other than that, you could be whatever you want. You could be 10 things at the same time. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what's written on your forehead, you cannot be judged. I don't know why you are the way you are. Let God deal with you. But judging somebody from the way that I think you should be is wrong. Because even like to my kids, I always say, like, I can do the best that I can raising them, but I don't know how my daughter is going to be tomorrow, and I don't know how my son is going to be. I don't know their paths. I can only give them love, guidance, and understanding of life itself to the best of my ability. And I think this is the part where I'm going to go back to your parents. God bless them for raising you the way that they raised you, because you're embraced from a very early day in your family, right? Because you're still young. You're like in your early 20s. You're still a baby. But your age to do that is a beautiful thing. And art, music is one of those like vibrations that truly shape a person, right? Because in schools there isn't many of that. So kids literally go back and forth between just a like systematic world. You're here. It's the little
Yeah.
things that matter. So even if it's 5 people who are liking your music and your positivity, it's already going to help somebody without even you realizing. Because there's so many people that, like, my kids are, honestly, my son is a little bit shy to wear a yarmulke. He's not comfortable right now at all. So I'm not going to push him to do that, but eventually we'll take one day at a time whenever he's ready, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, right now in specific, it is a
Mhm.
very scary time to wear a yarmulke,
Mhm.
especially because of, like the
The
conflict in
war.
Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the war.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, when it first started, I actually released my song recently as the war was starting, but my song is it's called Yarmulke, and it's very lighthearted and goofy.
Mhm.
And I felt like it wasn't the right time to post it. But now that a bit of time has passed, it is a good song to do exactly that. What, like you spoke about how your son is a bit afraid to wear his yarmulke in public. Well, this song, it's like me flexing my yarmulke proudly.
Yeah,
So
but I also don't want the Jewish people to stop being Jewish. That's literally, I loved seeing how they all just went to like 42nd Street in New York the other day and just prayed. And I think one of the most beautiful things about our community is that we're just peaceful type of people. No matter how or what people are gonna say,
yeah,
we'll never do the things that is done to us to other people.
I mean, I think the Jews are just such an interesting people, and it really doesn't make sense how involved we are with things that go around the world, especially
Mhm.
considering we're such a small population.
Exactly.
But one thing that's undeniable is that the Jews are not violent. We're very civil.
Yes.
We have a bunch of laws in our religion that says no, you cannot,
Mhm.
you have to treat your neighbor how you want to be treated and all these things. And I don't understand how it gets twisted and we get so demonized. And the Jews are the scapegoat throughout history for so many nations. So it blows my mind that that's
Mhm.
why that is. It could be because, Jews are historically successful because wherever we've gone, we've been refugees and we've had to find ways to survive that are
Because we work
innovative.
together.
And also, like, to circle back earlier when you said, even if you could impact five lives, whatever, like, you may not realize, like, the truth is it's actually something I've meditated on a lot.
Mhm.
And when I was younger, I saw like how music was impacting my peers and how much that would affect how they treated me. And I internalized that and I said, look, my purpose here is to definitely impact the youth in a positive way. And you're right, whether it's one life or, 1,000, whatever it is, like, if someone can internalize these messages that I'm putting out there through my music, then I'm fulfilling my purpose.
Exactly. Exactly. So keep it up. But if you want to add anything else, um, maybe some advice for the youth people, for anybody, honestly.
Um, for someone who is young, um, I would say always be young at heart and keep your you don't have to share everything with the world. There are certain things that are meant to be between you and God. There are certain things that are meant to be between you and your parents, certain things that are supposed to be just between you and your friends. And
Right.
then there's other things that you can share with anyone. And over time, you'll learn what you should be sharing with people and what not to, but never be afraid to be uncomfortable. Like, if there's something that you want to do, want to say, want to learn, but you have fear, don't let that fear stop you and focus on how badly you want to do that thing
Mm-hmm.
and visualize yourself doing that thing even before you do it.
Yes.
And just by the way that the law of attraction works and all the forces in the world will help you get what you want. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's actually a very, very positive and strong message. Because I actually do that with my son. Imagine how you're going to be in class so that your teacher doesn't call me and complain that you just bothered children. And he actually imagines how he acts in class. Then the day starts and he remembers because I'm helping him concentrate. And that's something that you were just talking earlier. One of the
Mindfulness. I like to call it
mindfulness,
mindfulness.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yes. Mindfulness is a huge thing. Manifestation is a huge thing. It is real. And generally speaking, when your mind is all over the place, you're never going to get anywhere. So at least try to do something. If you like drawing, try doing a little bit, maybe like 5 minutes a day or at least one time a week. Just do something for yourself so that you can start feeling like, the day is not just for someone else on a regular basis, it's for you.
yeah. And I also have another thing to say for,
Mhm.
I mean, it could, like, both of these things could be for anyone, but I'm having the youth in mind, which is people are going to tell you what to do and what not to do your whole entire life. And at the end of the day, the decision is always yours to make. And if you can learn from other people's mistakes, I highly recommend it. So that way you don't have to go through the pain of learning that mistake on your own. But sometimes you are going to have to learn those mistakes on your own. Even when people are telling you not to do it and you don't listen, you're going to have to learn. But if you learn from it, it's a success. So there's no such thing as failure.
Yes, mistake is a lesson. It's not the worst thing that can happen to you. And it's true. Very good point. Very good advice. Thank you so much.
Totally.
Yeah. I hope we talk again because you're a cool kid.
Thank you.
um,
I
um,
like to think that I'm, past the kid stage, but still young at heart.
Listen, you know my age. I'm close to 40, so I don't like. I'm still a kid myself. Like if you ask my friends, like I still climb trees and I used to rollerblade when I was pregnant. Nothing stops me. Literally, my dad was like, Marina, don't do it. And I would just send him a video, Papa, I did it. Because I'm such a kid. And that age I feel like, when people talk about, oh, but you're 40, you're 50, it doesn't matter. Age is a number only if you're gonna not take care of yourself. If it's just that mental state, Yes, of course, I guess when I'm 90 or hopefully if I, live through that, it's
Oh
a
man,
different story, right? Exactly. Thank you. But up until that happens, I'm still hanging out with my daughter's 11-year-olds. Like we played water fight all summer together. So
that's fun.
I know. And they're like, oh my God, where's your mom? Why is she not here? What's going on? I'm like, well, I'm at work. That's where I have to be. It's like, "Dad." And they're so upset. And that's the best part about embracing who you are. Like, why do we have to stop doing it just because we reach a certain age? That's what makes your energy grow. Otherwise, you just stagnate. You're like toxic. Oh, I have so many bills to pay, or I have so many things to do. Who cares? Sometimes when I'm literally stressed out, I just say, God, I just release everything to you because this situation, I don't know what to do with it. That's it.
Yeah,
Even though I'm not
sometimes, yeah.
religious, but there's certain things God is going to help you regardless. God is going to love you because you're embracing and you're conscious of God's existence in your world. So I promise you, I didn't even think that this is something that would happen, but I teach my kids all the time, pray if you need something, pray if you're scared. God is going to be with you. He knows better than any one of us. Tough times, rough times, doesn't matter. God's going to get you through it.
Yeah. Sounds like your kids are gonna be in good hands.
I mean, listen, I do my best, but life is life, and it comes out of nowhere, like I don't know, a red light or somebody cuts you off or something. Like you just have to be ready for whatever that's coming. And like you said, no matter how many times people might put you down or make you feel like you're less than, this is the time when God will question you above all. Everyone else is gonna come into your life like it doesn't even matter. Like
Yeah,
weather, it's cold outside, we're gonna put on a jacket. You have to be ready.
I've definitely had a lot of people come in and out of my life, and once I realized that not everyone is supposed to be in my life, it was a lot easier to let go of relationships that were toxic,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very healthy for me to let go of. And now I
Hard.
try to let go and let God.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think in the beginning it's hard when you have to be like, wait, what? But not everybody thinks like us. And sometimes it's difficult to make that decision because you're thinking that you're going to be with this person. It could be a coworker, it could be a friend, it could be somebody you're dating, but it's hard because your vibration is different, but their vibration is completely on a whole other level. And until you realize that it's not going to be easy, but once you do, then it's easier to let people go. Right now, I'm like three miles away. I'm like, nope, you're not coming in my circle.
Yeah.
Very
And
simple.
sometimes, the awareness, the clarity to to say, oh, this isn't good for me. Let me do something else.
Mm-hmm.
It can come in the form of someone else. It can come in the form of a hobby. And
Yep.
sometimes it just literally comes from you realizing that you're done with their BS. So you gotta
Exactly. Exactly.
just gotta cut it out,
Mm-hmm.
move on.
But that's how you grow. That's when people are like, oh, you found yourself. That's when I saw you when I spoke to you. The first thing we spoke, and you weren't even holding back on a message. You were just audio texting me back, and you were talking about everything. And I love that. I love people who are so open, and you weren't like, what are you talking about?
I mean, I don't have much to hide in general.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like that. It's openness that I love, but you're also preserving yourself, like to protect yourself, which is good because you're aware of it. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just tell anything to anyone, but
Mhm.
if it's information that maybe, it's a little bit vulnerable,
Mhm.
if you're confident in your experiences
Yep,
and you know where you come from, nothing anyone can say can make those experiences mean something less than they are.
exactly. You have to go through something. Like you can't stay home and read books and be like, okay, I'm ready. Nope, you're lost. You can't be like, you have to experience something like dealing, even if it's your coworkers, like just you living with those people, technically speaking, because you're there most of your day. So you're gonna experience something. So how do you not?
Yeah.
Why is everything bad? Why is everything supposed to be by the book? Who wrote?
Well, yeah. And people want to find the bad, and it's funny because a lot of the work I do is from home because,
Mm-hmm.
I do online videos, music and marketing and stuff, and I have clients, so I do meetings with online.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that online people are a lot more harsh than in person. In person, maybe they'll talk bad about behind your back or like judge you a little bit. But online, because they're anonymous, they can just hide behind a random
True,
picture and say anything.
true,
So
true.
it's, yeah, like I don't know what you're doing with your kids in terms of parental restrictions, but I don't think I'm gonna let my kids be able to tap into the internet until way later,
Yeah.
till they're
I've been
older.
definitely exposed, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm like, oh my God. But I sit my kids down and I'm like, there's certain things you're gonna see from somebody else. So like when there was a civil rights movement for the Black people, my best friend is Black. She's like a soul tribe sister. I've connected with her through the internet and we've been best friends ever since. And not one time did we ever say, well, you're Jewish or you're Black. Never. She's such a spiritual person. And I'm teaching my kids to understand, like, do not judge ever. Because if you have somebody from a completely different lifestyle, community, you know, she's, I can't even fathom what she went through. Like I can't even understand that she had to survive through as a woman.
Yeah.
She never judges me. So I tell my kids, this is what people go through outside of our life, outside of what we go through. There's different things on regular basis for different people, and my kids understand.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have great kids, it sounds like.
I mean, I hope so. They're still driving me bananas. That's a hope.
Oh, I drove my mom crazy. She
Me
she could not
too.
control me. Yeah, she like I'm calm now, and like it took me
Yeah,
a while, but I was a late bloomer with that, where like I was just out of control always.
me too.
So,
I know, but
yeah.
in my defense, I'd rather be the crazy one. My kids can't be like me. It's not allowed. And they're like, Marina, you're a hypocrite. Like, no, I'm not.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't.
And kids are smart with it too sometimes. Like
Very smart.
they'll
Very,
catch you out if you're doing
yes.
something that isn't what you say, they'll call it out right away.
My kids are very, very like on point with it. And they talk back if they have, but mama, you said, I was like, no, we're not discussing it. That's how it is.
Shoot. Wait, you said something earlier that I wanted to comment on, but I totally forgot what you said. Um, yeah, it's all good. Just like sometimes you just have to like detach. Like something I used to do is I used to get this picture of what I wanted so bad. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be so popular. I wanted to be friends with these people so bad, and it just wasn't happening. And I really had to just learn to be like,
Accept.
okay, yeah, like maybe this isn't supposed to be, like maybe there's something better waiting for me, and like letting go of that, and then letting God do the rest. And oftentimes God will over deliver.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. 100% true. Like I said, when in a situation when you don't know, just let God deal with it. Because there's only so much you can do. Considering that naturally, if you're a workaholic, God will eventually be like, okay, son, go take a rest. I hope that you make
Yeah,
yourself to do that too.
like sometimes like I'll be so exhausted where I'll literally just stay in bed for a day, or sometimes like I'll just get sick out of nowhere and
That's
I've been healthy,
mhm.
and or
That's just your
injured
way of
even.
saying relax. Your body is telling you just to relax. Sometimes you just have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're working on it.
Yeah, it's a process. I mean, it's also hard because like the music industry is very competitive, and entertainment is competitive, and I feel like if I'm not constantly working, then I'm going to be outworked by other people, and it won't be good enough. That's something I struggle with, is feeling like it's never good enough. And I know it's a lie, right? I know it's a lie, but it's still something that I feel like every week. So I'm working on dealing with that.
As long as your music is something that people can relate to, which is obviously they can, because your audience can be dealing with towards the youngsters. But then again, you're growing as your vibration grows and as your surrounding grows. So your music is going to be changing as you're evolving. So thinking something that, oh, people don't, people know you. Trust me. People can see you. It's just something that you love. And that is exactly how vibration starts rolling, like a little ball, and it goes bigger and bigger eventually. That's how it
Hmm.
works. It's the consistency and the belief that this is your path. Because honestly, if it wasn't your path, why would you be doing it? You could be great with your hands and do like carpentry or something, but that's not what you're doing. It might
Yeah.
be something else you could try if that's what you love, but music is another thing, because the way we're thinking is, why do we only have to be stuck on one thing? Because you could be doing music and singing in different organizations for the elderly or like the youth in schools. There's so much you could do with your gift. Not everybody has it. And you already like, I don't care, I'm gonna sing about Yamka. Why not?
Well, an interesting thing is like, you mentioned with your friend having all these talents and consistency and these things, and I have a lot of things that I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm also an artist, like I can draw, like do like, digital design and stuff like
Wow.
that. And I love sports and stuff. And like with all those things, I decided that it's actually the smartest to narrow down and become really good at like a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that way, when you repetitively do it, you're going to really distinguish yourself as someone who's an expert in that field rather than being someone who's like a jack of all trades, but master of none. And I remember like there was a long point where I didn't know what I was going to do. And it kind of just hit me that it was music, but it wasn't so obvious right away. I still had a bunch of hobbies and I kind of, I just stuck with it and
Mm-hmm.
I've kept with it. And that's something that like for someone who has a lot of talents and a lot of things that they enjoy doing, I think it's important that they choose one thing to do more than all of the other things and
Yes.
make that your thing. And then from having like your expertise in your field and you
Then you
build
could branch
up like,
out.
yeah, then like you can make a podcast here, you can do this and that, but like have your centralized thing be the keep the main thing. um and at the same time, I do believe in entrepreneurship and I do believe in multiple streams of income and having multiple hobbies. So I guess it's each to their own.
Yeah.
At the like oftentimes if you say no to things regularly, time and time again, even if they seem fun or good, the reward is better. You're better off saying no to a lot of things, which is really uh interesting because you think that you'll be missing out, but really when you say no to all these other things, it gives you the time and energy to actually do what you need to do.
Exactly. Exactly. There comes a time when you can make time for it. Later on, you'll be forced to make time for it. So do it now. And you're right. Once you stick to one thing, you could branch out elsewhere because I'm jealous that you're a yoga instructor or you could do yoga because I want to be good at it. I'm still practicing little by little, but it's, you know,
What's funny about that is I literally last year I was teaching yoga classes, or no, 2 years ago, to people in Yeshiva University. I was teaching yoga classes to them, and I had a whole like Instagram account and everything. And then I did a hard pivot. I said nope. Even though I have
mm,
my certificate to teach and I can get paid for this, I'd rather invest all this time and energy into doing my music. So this way, like now I still have the knowledge of being able to do yoga and like exercise, and I still do that myself, but it's not my thing to help other people with that. So I had to take a hard pivot, and that was a hard decision because it's not
right.
like I like both of them,
Hmm.
but one, I just had to assess what was more important to me.
Of course, I mean, listen, you know best. So
Yeah, but it's great. For anyone watching, I highly recommend yoga and regular physical exercise. It's
absolutely.
helps the mental health as well as
Yes.
your body.
Yes, absolutely. So listen, you are a jack of all trades. You're just mastering something that you love more than anything because nothing's gonna come easy. And once you get it, you always have to work at it. But that's okay. At least you found yourself. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
And the way to get it, to get there, is by always trying. Because like you said, asking questions when you're confused is important. Sometimes, honestly, I felt so alone. Not that I didn't have people to talk to, but you don't have people who understand where you're coming from because like people have different lives and different situations. So I came across where I just had to like pray to God and just be like, get me out of the situation. I don't care what I don't care what I have to go through. Go to war and come back every day. I don't care. Get me out of it. That's not what I.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's
that's what it takes.
yes, that's literally what it comes down to. So
Yeah, I'm lucky in the sense where I have found my purpose and I know what it is.
exactly.
Generally speaking, I don't know all the exact details, but I know it.
Mm-hmm.
But the not so lucky side of things is that it came from a very, very dark place of at a very young age, I was very depressed and I went through all these negative emotions that were extreme
Mm.
at a very young age, and it led me to finding my purpose, which now I look back on those terrible experiences that I've had, and that's a reference point of what I never want to come close to again,
Right.
and what I want to help people with who are there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what it comes down to is like I had a breaking point. I had a point where I said I need to get out of here, and I don't care what it is, and I started praying, and that is something that really helped me get out of where I was living at the time and go to Israel,
But that's
to yeshiva. Yeah, and in yeshiva, that's where I really was like, oh, I'm Jewish. That's why I have all these deep thoughts and why I feel different from everyone, because like I have a Jewish soul, and I just didn't get that.
yeah.
And then, I kept trusting the process, and I kept praying, and that's really, I think, what helped me stay on path and what kept
That's,
bringing these blessings into my life.
that's beautiful. I've never been to Israel. Hopefully one day I will.
Another time.
Another time,
Not
definitely
now.
not now.
No
Definitely
way.
not now.
Stay the
No.
heck out of that zone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was my cat.
Nice.
Thank you so much for everything. I
Totally.
promise you, this was a very good conversation. I enjoyed talking to you.
Same here.
Yeah. Um, Definitely pray for the people, for, the lives of the innocent. Everything that's happening right now in the world is just horrific. And
Yeah.
I pray that people do not lose themselves in this time, because it's one of the most important times in everybody's life, not just the lives of the Jews. And hopefully that everything comes to like a good end without more lives lost, and people continue to prosper. Honestly, whoever the person is, doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, humanity does come first, and there's nothing like it. Like, a life is a gift. There's nothing
Yeah.
to say about it. Life is a gift, and people have to cherish it.
Yeah, we got to keep praying. And this Sunday, what is it today? It's Sunday today. So
15th, yeah.
October 22nd, I am releasing a song called Praying for a Good Day. So
Nice.
it's right there. There you go. Praying for a
Send me
good
the
day.
link.
So
I'm gonna post it also.
yeah, awesome. Please do. Please
Yes,
share
yes,
it.
yes.
I think it's what we need right now. I wasn't gonna post it. I was just gonna push
No,
Yarmulke for a while, but
you
we need
have
it.
to post it. No, I want to know all that music. But at the end of the day, even if it's one life that you're gonna change, that's all that we need.
It's
That's right.
true. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Marina. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Anytime. Thank you, Levy.
Okay. Yeah,
Take
have
care
a good
now.
one.
You too. You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
I've been trying to make it through. I'm just praying for a good day.